Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tucker, and in what is pretty much a daily practice now, we're going to be talking about some NBA teams today. In the first video of the day, we're going to be talking about the Portland Trailblazers, and I've got another team on tap for the second video of the day later today as well. And Portland is in definitely a weird spot. Before the season, I think myself and a lot of other people were pretty excited about what Portland could do this year. This is a team that, made the conference finals a few years ago, but for the most part, they're just kind of there in the Western Conference. Like, they're always, in competition to make the playoffs or in the playoffs. We know how good Dame is, we know how good CJ is, but they were never that complete of a team. They'd have some interesting guys in the front court, maybe some off-ball shooters, but they were never that complete on both ends of the floor, specifically the issues being defensively. And some of the additions that they made in this most recent offseason, guys like Robert Covington, Derek Jones, myself and a lot of other people thought that that was going to be something that would, help them get over the top and help them improve on the defensive end of the floor and potentially be a top 6 or top 5 seed in what is a very, very tough Western Conference this season. And unfortunately, to this point in the season, that just has not been the case. They don't have an awful record. It's not like they're 1-5 or something. But I just overall haven't been all that impressed with Portland to begin the year. And the unfortunate thing for them is, like, Dame and CJ have been awesome, and they're still struggling to win basketball games, and that's because they're so bad defensively. They're one of the worst teams in the league on the defensive end of the floor. And again, they utilize their resources, whether it be cap space or trading first-round picks for Robert Covington, in order to improve on that on the floor, and they just have not seen those improvements. I mean, they've got Dame and CJ, which they're going to be really good, but Melo hasn't really been that good from anywhere other than three-point range. Robert Covington has been really struggling with his shot. Jusuf Nurkic has been nearly non-existent, and he's probably the guy I'm most disappointed in on this roster. He's someone that I've advocated for in the past. Is like he's part of a big three in Portland. I've tried to tell people that in the past, but this season, that simply hasn't been the case. In the past, when Jusuf Nurkic was healthy, he was a bruising big guy that could score in the paint, had a little bit of an outside jump shot when he wanted to, was a sneaky good passer, and when he wants to give effort, can be an okay defender as well. And I thought, this guy can be an easy 15 and 10 with a couple assists, and that's part of a, significant big three in Portland. And I don't know what's going on with him to begin this season. Maybe it's just a slump. Maybe there's some injury stuff. Whatever the case may be, I'm not sure. But I've been really disappointed in him and Robert Covington and largely the entire roster outside of CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard, who, again, have been awesome. And again, this was supposed to be their most complete roster in years, specifically bringing in someone like Robert Covington to be a wing defender, bringing in someone like Derek Jones to provide athleticism in the front court. The other additions that they made, guys like Kerry Giles, they were supposed to be more athletic, they were supposed to be faster, they were supposed to be more versatile, specifically defensively, and none of that has materialized. And I think it's time to have a conversation about Robert Covington. This guy might be the most overrated player in the entire league right now, because every single year we hear about how he's a difference maker and teams always seem to want to go get him, but teams also seem to always want to trade him. Like the Rockets were all in on going to get Covington last year. And then, Portland went and set 2 first-round picks for him this year, but every single team that gets him, whether it be, Philly eventually moving him, Minnesota, Houston, and now Portland, every team that gets him are excited when they get him, but they're also very excited to move him. And I think maybe we should start learning that Robert Covington isn't like a lockdown defender. I don't know if some people thought that he was at some point, but he's not a lockdown individual defender. He can do some things off the ball, but he's not an incredible defensive difference maker at this point in his career, at least to what I've seen so far this season for Portland. And that's unfortunate because, they paid 2 first-round picks for the guy. They, I'm assuming, thought that he was going to be the wing difference maker they needed, and that simply hasn't been the case to this point. And I certainly was hoping for a better start to the year for this team. I thought they would be like a top 6, top 7 team in the West, and maybe they still will be, but that's not going to happen if they're the worst defensive team in the league. And there are some options for improvement moving forward for this group. They can tone down some of the Enes Kanter minutes to try and get better defensively. The Derek Jones minutes needs to go way down. He's playing like 30 plus minutes a game and he just can't score. Like it's so tough, to have someone on the floor that has been as bad offensively as Derek Jones has been, because you kind of feel like you need to play him at the 4. He's got athleticism to play the 5, but against bigs that are really, really strong, he can struggle. And he just doesn't have the offensive skills to play at the 4. And so, like, you can tone down the Cantor minutes, maybe give some of those to Derrick Jones as the full-time backup 5 and run, Melo and Covington and guys like that at the 4, maybe go a little bit smaller and hope that added quickness rather than playing 2 bigs will help you defensively. Hope that not playing Cantor as much and replacing Jones at the 5 minutes with the Cantor minutes helps you defensively. But you can't really do both right now. And that's kind of the issue with this roster is there's a lot of specialty players, right? There's guys that are either all offense or all defense, and they got to figure out the right mix here of, how can they get better defensively while also helping their offense. And like I said, there are options, but it has not been a great start. And I think it might be getting to the point where there are going to be some people calling for Terry Stotts to be fired. I've been someone that's, kind of defended him in the past as a head coach because I felt like they've overperformed in certain years. But with this roster, with the adjustments that they've made, I could easily see, the ownership group or otherwise getting very frustrated if they are not off to a better start this year. If they're like 500 through the first 20 or 30 games, I could see a change in head coach in the works here in Portland. Now, to be fair to them, the couple wins that they do have are pretty decent wins. They beat the Lakers at full strength. They beat the Rockets. They beat the Warriors. So it's not like, they are 3-4 or something and only beat really bad teams. Just would have liked to see more out of them. And then, a tough loss last night to Chicago as well. And until they figure out their defensive stuff, they're going to have to score a ton of points to win basketball games. The lowest point score that they have in a game that they won this year is 115. They have not won a basketball game this year in which they have scored less than 115 points. And, that Dame and CJ are not going to be huge difference makers defensively. So hopefully Covington can start knocking down some shots, improve a little bit defensively. And other than that, I guess there's a move to be made here. If they want to go out and try and get another wing, if they want to go out and try and get someone like PJ Tucker, that certainly would help them. But at a certain point, maybe this is just a bit of a personnel issue and they're going to be a bottom 10 defensive team throughout the year, which again is disappointing because of the effort, the clear effort that they made to get better defensively. I think they understand that this Dame and CJ thing is only going to last, a few more years at its peak at least. And they don't want to waste any of those years by continuing to be bad defensively. And so they did make an effort. And, I respect that. I respect them going out and get Covington. But it hasn't worked for them so far. So keep an eye on Portland. We'll see if they can turn some things around. They haven't been great at the beginning of the year. And if they continue to struggle this much defensively, they might not even make the playoffs. There are some teams in the West that I was thinking were going to be further down the standings that have looked really, really good to begin the year. Not further down the standings, but in the back half of the playoff standings. A team like Phoenix, for example, that have been really, really good. That could make it even more difficult for Portland to finish their season out the way that they hope to. So we'll see what happens with Portland the rest of the year. But I think we all, I don't know about we all, but I think I definitely overrated them before this season. But that is going to be the end of the first of today's videos, and I thank you all very much for watching. Like I said, there'll be a second video out later today, again focusing on another team that has not gotten off to a great start this season, so be sure to check that out later today. It'll be out in, a handful of hours from when you guys are watching this video. Once again, like I said in the beginning, my name is Tucker. If you guys missed any of my previous videos, then be sure to check out the boxes on screen. I upload twice a day, every day, all throughout the NBA season, so it's a great place for consistent NBA content, and you can leave a like rating on the video as well. Helps me out a ton, lets me know that you're enjoying the content, and helps it get out to more people on YouTube as well. And you can check me out at various socials at the bottom of the screen. They are in a link tree down in the description below. With all those things said, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you all next time.